In Scrum, the sprint demo is so powerful. It's a great place where the product owner and the Scrum development team get to show the end users and the stakeholders all the great work that they've achieved over the course of the sprint. Today, we're going to break down what it is, why you need to care about it, and as a Scrum Master, how you can help your team facilitate the sprint demo of their dreams. Hi guys, welcome back to Project Management 101. It's Dave here. It's great to see you. Today we're continuing our Scrum series and we're diving into the next Scrum ceremony, which in this case is going to be the sprint demo. This is where the team and the product owner come together to demonstrate all of the work that they've completed over the last iteration or sprint. The sprint demo is really powerful. It's a great way of gathering rapid feedback from your end users and your stakeholders alike. It's a great way of keeping everybody aligned, and it's a great way to let the team get a little boost in morale based on the feedback and based on, a little bit of celebrating success. They've done some work. They can shout about it. They can show off a little bit and they can feel proud about everything that they've achieved. And that makes it such an important tool from a psychology perspective within a Scrum team. So it's really important that you don't just let it slide. Don't let it go without a bit of fanfare. Use the opportunity to drive celebrating success and drive great culture in your Scrum teams. And I think what I've just talked about there really demonstrates the why. Why is it important? Really, it's important to bookend the sprint, but really to gather that feedback. So as you go in for the next iteration, if you're building something out over multiple sprints, you can build the thing that your end user needs without waiting till the end to make any changes and adaptations. We deliver the thing that the customer really needs, rather than those big waterfall projects where we get to the end, hand it over and somebody goes, oh, the world's changed. We don't really need that anymore. The sprint demo is led by the product owner, but it's likely as a Scrum Master, we're going to be the people that making sure it happens. We're making sure that everybody's prepped. We're making sure it's ready to go. And we also feed into it as Scrum Masters, feeding in the appropriate data from the last sprint, any continuous improvement activity, and supporting the product owner to pull together the details. And it's really important that this is a team effort and we all show up together. In preparation, you might want to pull together a short presentation as a Scrum Master talking about what was the sprint goal that you took into your last sprint? Why was it important? And have you met it or not met it? If you did meet the sprint goal, why don't you talk about how you met it? What were the things that you delivered at a top level that allowed you to meet that? And if you didn't, talk about what were the challenges that you and the team faced, how you worked to overcome them, if that was possible, and if you weren't able to overcome them, what that means now in terms of the next iteration and ultimately the final closeout of the sprint. You could also call out things like, did you have to make any decisions within the sprint, i.e. the product owner deprioritise something in favour of something else? Talk about that. Demonstrate the rationale. The product owner is likely the right person to talk about it, but it should be open and transparent so everybody's on the same page. Some Scrum Masters get it stuck in their head that if we haven't got a piece of code to show, or a working end state of a piece of code, we shouldn't show anything at all. I fundamentally disagree, and I'm a Scrum Master too. For me, this is about showing the progress. You could have done a sprint 0 and just built your backlog, so showing your Kanban board and talking about the things that you've achieved together as a team is equally as important as showing shippable code, in my view. Drop me a comment below if you disagree. Let's talk about it because I'd love to hear your thoughts. So building on that preparation allows everybody to think about what we're going to show up to in the meeting. So normally a sprint demo can be half an hour to an hour long, and it should include all of your key stakeholders and any interested parties. If you're working in a Scrum team within a larger group of multiple Scrum teams, why not invite the other Scrum teams and learn from each other? That's a great way to grow culture. Look at us, we're doing great. How about you guys? Are you doing great? We'd love to talk to you. Let's see how you're doing it. And then we can continuously grow and learn together. And that's one of the cultures that we embody and live and breathe within Agile. As a Scrum Master, it's really not worth losing any sleep over who books the meeting. Whether it's you or the product owner, just make sure it's in the diary. Make sure it's got the right stakeholders on it and make sure it takes place. As a Scrum Master, that's our job. The product owner can get all the glory with the team, and that's fine. We just need to make sure it happens, right? So don't worry about it. If they haven't booked it, the product owner, then you book it. We don't need to be petty about it. Let's just get it done because it's really important within the sprint cycle. So with that upfront prep that we're doing to get the presentation ready, we're also getting the engineers thinking about what they're going to show. Maybe it's a website, maybe it's a web application, maybe it's a mobile app. Think about the medium that you're going to share it over. If you're lucky enough to have a room, make sure you've got a projector and a way to plug into it so you can put it up in front of your stakeholders. If you're on a Teams call, that's a little bit easier. Make sure everybody's got the right access, they've got all of the things that they need and they've tested it in the morning. The environments are working, the code's working, they've got a backup if necessary so they can turn up, present well and present confidently. And that prior preparation really drives a sense of togetherness more than you can imagine. Not only do you walk in prepared, you walk in more confident, you're able to have a better conversation with your stakeholders and you're able to listen to that feedback because ultimately we want the feedback so we can iterate better as we go into the next refinement, the next sprint. It's so important. So that preparation shows that we're on our A game, shows everybody else what good looks like, and it gives our stakeholders much more confidence that we know what we're doing, we're going to listen to them and we're going to nail it. So, we're in the room, the Scrum Master is going to kick it off. They're going to welcome everybody to the event, they're going to set the scene, we're going to talk about what it is, why are we here, what are we talking about, why are people going to care? And within that, then we're going to set the expectation around what the sprint goal was, whether we met it, whether we didn't meet it, and then we'll talk about those challenges. We'll pull in the product owner or other team members as necessary to support that discussion, but we keep it top line. We're open, we're transparent, we're driving clarity for our stakeholder group, and that's great. Once we get going and we're past that initial presentation, the team are going to get us kicked off. We're going to look at the shippable code wherever it's available, or we're going to look at things like, photographs of backlogs, whatever it is. Keep it simple. Don't worry about what you're showing. Just make sure you're showing something. And get the development team to talk through and practice. What are they going to say? How are they going to show somebody how the app's working? What does that look like? Maybe you can practice that outside of the room, but then each of the engineers who are stepping forward to run the demo alongside the Scrum Master and the product owner are prepped, ready to go, and they're clear about the sequence of events. So we've got developer A who's going to run through the website, then we've got developer B who's going to run through the mobile app, then we've got our test engineer who's going to talk about the test findings and some changes that they need to make to the CI/CD pipeline, for example. Great demo, everybody loves it, the crowd goes wild, and I think that's a great way that you can drive pace through it. You're showing a bit of a story and you're showing a bit of a narrative. As you get to the end, the product owners then going to talk about, so that was our goal, we talked about whether we'd met it or not, but was there any feedback within the wider group that we should hear? Maybe the padding on the screen wasn't quite right, maybe the icon was wrong. Hear that feedback. We're not saying we're going to do it, we're just listening. We're listening, we're taking it in, we're taking it away. We're not making any commitments to anything. It's for the product owner to hear the feedback, make sure it's on the backlog, and then as we come in for the next sprint planning session, it can be prioritised against the existing work and ranked against it. And if the product owner deems it's important, then great, it comes into the backlog and we might work on it next. Equal to the other priorities that we've already got in the backlog. I think whilst doing the demo, it's really important to show the specifics and show any data that underpins it. So if you're working on something really complex and you're using complex models, if you've got data that underpins it, don't be shy, show it. Everybody just understands it a bit better if you show this thing's hooked into this thing and it's really complex and this is why. You don't have to go into the technical detail, but you can talk at a high level about why it's complex, and show them, and then people will understand it. Most people picture Excel spreadsheets most of the time when you're talking about technology, but that's not the truth, is it? We all know that. So embracing the Agile manifesto of responding to change comes to life within the sprint demo. So as we talked about, the product owner bringing in those things to the backlog allows us to respond to changing requirements in the industry or from your stakeholders, and that's really important and one of the key ethoses of being agile, and that's where Scrum brings it to life. This isn't about uncontrolled change, it's about change in a controlled way where the product owner, the Scrum Master and the development team are in control but utilise the backlog as the tool to keep the control. So in our demo, we've set the scene, we've ran through what we did, how we did it, any challenges, whether we met the sprint goal or not. We've demonstrated what we've done. We've shown them all the amazing work of the team. We've now gathered some feedback and we'll take that away. The next part is talking about what's next. And that's really for the product owner to set the scene of where their head's at in terms of the next iteration. What's the backlog looking like? What are the things that are high priority? And where is it likely that the next sprint will focus its time and effort? And that's a great opportunity for the product owner to manage those stakeholder expectations and really bring together the guys. Right, everybody, this is where we're going next. This is why. This is what we're going to do about it. Is everybody on board with that? And it's a great way of demonstrating everybody a longer term view of the iteration that they've just seen, where we're going next, what we're going to do about it, get people excited, make sure they come back for the next demo, and that's great culture to drive through the team. I personally think by taking those steps and driving forward that alignment from the product owner to the stakeholder group, it really allows us to align those priorities for the next sprint. If our CEO is in the room and just disagrees fundamentally that we should carry on working on this, I would have liked it to have happened outside of the meeting and in a better conversation with the product owner a bit earlier, but hey, stuff happens. And if it does happen, great, we'd still rather hear about it, so we're not wasting time and we're doing the right work at the right time to get the value out for the customer and for the business. And taking that approach and with that focus allows us to make sure that we're always adding value for the customer and for the business. I like to think about it like this. If you're not asking for feedback and sharing the inputs and outputs within your sprints and your Scrum ceremonies, you're basically marking your own homework, and we all know we're probably going to mark it favourably so we just get to the next thing. We should ask for the feedback. It's a bit like doing an exam at school and somebody externally verifying it. There's a reason why we do that, right? Because we'll all just tick, yeah, I got 100 out of 100. Yeah, of course you did. Some people might have. But the truth is, we want the feedback. We value somebody marking our homework. So keep that analogy in mind next time you're running a sprint demo. So there we have it. For me, the sprint demo is one of the most powerful Scrum ceremonies. And think about it like this. You're only ever making progress. So don't be shy. Just share your world, because you've always made more progress than last sprint. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is there something that you do in a sprint demo that we should be talking about? Drop a comment below. Let's let the whole community know, and let's continue to learn and grow from each other. Make sure you smash that like button if you got some value out of today's video. It really helps out the channel. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads where we'll continue to talk about more practical advice in project, program and delivery management. I'm Dave. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see each and every one of you next week. From chaos to clarity, take care.